Mel, you can just tell me when it's go time, all right?
Okay. Okay. So before we get started with Anne, Anne is a colleague of mine that I worked with at University of Southern California. And I think it's amazing. We have had people from all sorts of different institutions today, different organizations doing different things from a number of places. I would like it to be even wider than it is. But again, just thank you so much for being here. Cool. And with that, Anne, I think, just so you know, Anne, I'm not sure if we have any students here, and I know your session is geared for
Yeah.
mostly students, but I personally have been really excited about your session because you're going to be doing something that I haven't seen before. So anyway, yay, take it away.
Okay, great. Yeah, I did prepare this session for students, but I can just reframe it and talk about it more as perhaps a lesson plan that somebody might want to use or adapt. We can approach it from a new perspective. That's totally fine. Thank you so much to Mel and Amy for organizing this event. I'm really excited to be here speaking to everybody. I'm Anne Crutchfield, and right now I'm located in Los Angeles, California. And just like Mel said, I recently have worked at the University of Southern California teaching English as a second language. Before that, I taught English in Hawaii for about 12 years at a community college and a private Japanese university. Before that, I was teaching English abroad in Germany. That's where I started my TESOL career. I studied at the University of Hawaii. I have a master's in second language studies and a PhD in education. And I recently started my own private teaching business. So I work with students one-on-one and in groups. Now, of course, everything is online on Zoom. So I'm living the Zoom life. And this is one lesson that I've used with some students recently online. So let's get started. Here's my plan for the session. The first part is going to be learning a little bit about syllables and about syllable division. And then after that, we're going to use what we've learned to write a haiku poem. A haiku poem is a traditional Japanese poem that is structured around syllables. And then at the end, I'll make sure to leave time if anybody wants to ask questions, and get ready to write some haikus too. So that's the plan. So I like to start by just asking students what they already know about syllables, of course, activating their prior knowledge, their schemata. And for example, we have 3 words here: children, banana, and intelligent. So each one has a different number of syllables. Children has 2 syllables. What is a syllable? It's like a beat in the word. You can clap it out. You can hear it if you listen closely. The word children has 2 beats. Children. Yeah? The word banana has 3 beats. Banana. And intelligent has 4 beats. Intelligent. So that's the basic concept around syllables. Most students have learned something about this and need a little refresher. I want to go into a little bit more detail, and I'm actually using some slides that were created by Go Bang Rui at the he is a teacher at the Ministry of Education in Singapore. These are just slides that are on slideshare.net, open educational resources. And I like his slides, so I use these with students. Not all of them, but the ones that relate to syllables we'll look at today. So every word is made up of syllables. Every word has a certain number of syllables. It could be 1, it could be 2, 3, or more syllables. So some examples of 1-syllable words are words like dog, sun, shoes, right? So they each have 1 beat. If you can hear it, that's great. it might not be so easy for everybody to hear those beats, but over time and with practice, you might train your ear to hear the different beats in the words. So I'd like to challenge you all to brainstorm some more one syllable words, and you can write them in the chat box. That's what I would have students do. I know that you all know what one syllable words are, but if you would like to, you can add those to the chat. Let me get my chat box visible again so I can see what you're writing. Hold on, my cursor is a little out of control right now. Can't quite navigate my screen at the moment. One second.
I can tell you what's in the chat, and we've got.
Oh, okay, I can't get my cursor to do very much. What kind of words are coming up, Mel?
We've got fun, man, Tom, cat, dog, house, cup, cat, food.
Wow, that's great participation. I thought maybe one person would contribute. Yeah, those are all one syllable words. You guys got it. Here are some two syllable words like advise, compete, discuss, quiet, orange, and table. So what makes a word one or two or three syllables? It has to do with a vowel sound. So every syllable is one vowel sound. One syllable is one vowel sound. Now notice that it's not necessarily the written vowel, it's not necessarily the letter A-E-I-O-U, but it's the sound, right? So for example, the word advise, we have an A, an I, and an E, but it's only two syllables because, oh, sorry, let me close my door. Only two syllables because we just have two vowel sounds in that word. I, advise. So if you can hear it, I, two syllables, two vowel sounds is two syllables, right? Same with compete. Compete, e, compete. You can hear those two vowels. That's why the word is two syllables. So that's the rule for syllables. Here's an example with a three-syllable word. Gratitude. We can divide this into three syllables. Gratitude. A-I-U. Three vowels is three syllables. Even though this word has an A, an I, a U, and an E, but that doesn't mean that it's four syllables. It's just three because some of those vowels are silent or combined. So I'd like to now challenge you to separate one of these example words into three syllables. Maybe we can do, I'd like to do the first one together if I can get my chat box under control. Pick a word and you can kind of break it up on your own in the chat box. I'm gonna take a second to reorganize my screen. Where's my chat box? Okay, now I got my chat box open. Yeah, okay, thanks Mel, elastic, and Nicole, expensive, and Jessica, official, right. I think you guys got the idea. If students are still confused, you could go into more detail about that, or also do some more examples with four-syllable words like calculator, a, u, a, or. I think that helps students to kind of hear the vowel sounds if I isolate them. A, u, a, or, calculator. Yeah. And here's some more examples that could also be divided up. Maybe we'll do one together. I'll do the first one. Economics, something like that. Yeah. Economics. Yeah. Oh, I see a question from Jessica about, where do you divide the consonants up? Actually, I'm not totally sure. maybe somebody else knows more about that. I tend to just focus on the vowel sounds. So I'm not sure if it matters. Probably if you've studied phonetics deeply, then you have more information about that than I do. A fish. So is it off fish shell or is it official? Let's see. What does Mel think? It's the sound of the consonant.
That's a typo. That's a typo. I think it's the
Okay.
sound. So like because English is not phonetic, we can get kind of lost with the spelling.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see the C, and then we're like, where do we put the C? But it's not a fickle.
Right.
So
right.
I think we need to keep the C and the I together because it's the C and the I that ultimately make that sh sound. I don't know.
Yeah, I would write. I mean, the thing is, there's limitations to dividing the words up orthographically versus phonetically. So what would be better would be to represent these words in IPA symbols and then to break up the sounds in symbols. So that would probably be a really helpful step for students, especially students who already are familiar with sound symbols. For this lesson, I didn't include it just for time and scope of the lesson, but in a normal classroom, I would probably take these example words and represent them in symbols and then break the symbols up, then you can do it more accurately. When students don't know symbols, that can just be like, it can maybe, I don't know, confuse them even more. So I tend to focus more on the sound, but it's also just for this lesson. This isn't an in-depth lesson. It's kind of a quick overview. Most of the time students have already learned something like this before, and they're kind of, telling me what they already know. Yeah? Okay, so now that we've reviewed syllables a little bit and syllable division, let's put this into practice and do some writing, creative writing haiku poems. Has anybody ever written a haiku before, or are you familiar with this creative writing genre? Maybe, possibly, yeah. So like I said at the start of this session, the haiku poems come from the Japanese tradition, and they're always, well, the kind that we're looking at today, the basic haiku, I believe, is 3 lines, always 3 lines. And the first line is 5 syllables. The second line is 7 syllables. And the third line is back to 5 syllables again. So let's take a look at the example on the right side of the screen. Our haiku, I'll read the whole thing first. It's refreshing and cool. Love is a sweet summer rain that washes the world. So these are just little poems that are kind of pretty. They don't necessarily, I don't think they typically rhyme. Instead, they're just structured around the number of syllables in each line. So the first line, refreshing and cool. Refreshing and cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can break it down like this. Refreshing has 3 syllables, right? Refreshing. And just has 1 syllable. There's only 1 vowel sound in that word. And. So 1 syllable. And then same with cool, just 1 syllable word. Ooh, right? Refreshing and cool. Yeah. Our second line, love is a sweet summer rain. That line has 7 syllables. Love is a sweet summer rain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like this. Love is 1 syllable. Is 1 syllable. Is 1 syllable. Sweet, again, 1. Then summer is 2. Summer. The last one is rain. Yeah. And we can break down the last line as well into 5 syllables. That washes the world. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that. Yeah. Thank you, Nicole is already 1 step ahead, which is great because I actually wanted to tell you earlier that start writing your haikus in the chat box. Yeah, write your own 575 haiku about any topic. Yeah, about the coronavirus. I'm gonna read Nicole's. She wrote, unknown and scary, people dying every day, coronavirus. It's good. It's really good. Yeah. Unknown and scary, 5 syllables. People dying every day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then coronavirus is a 5-syllable word. Yeah. So really good. Keep writing them. We'll come back and read some more examples of that. And as you're writing, I'm going to show you some examples. These are some student examples, just to give you perhaps some inspiration. So these were written by students in a class recently that I taught online. And they wrote, the first one here, white and clean winter, cover the world together, more beautiful snow. So drawing up kind of imagery of winter, snow, like that. When students write them, it's of course a process to go through and edit, because most of the time there are, mistakes as far as how many syllables are in a word. So I'll have students draft, write them in the classroom. I'll have them come up to the board and write them on the board. On Zoom, I have them write it in the chat box, and then I usually copy paste it, and then we can kind of edit it together. So as a class, we'll go through and make changes, and sometimes, you have to rewrite or reword or rephrase your idea so that it fits with the 5-7-5 structure. Yeah. So these are edited. We've already gone through them and marked the syllables and talked about words that are particularly challenging or confusing. It tends to be words, let's see, what's a good example? What's a good example of a word that I think might be, I don't know, even the word like white, the first word here, I feel like that could be something that students might hear or perceive 2 syllables, possibly because there's 2 vowels, or white, white. I think some students might be, based on their first language, break it up into different syllables, like Japanese speakers, for example, who have a vowel sound in every syllable. I think that's right, or I'm saying that right. Yeah, I think that's right. I think in Japanese you have a vowel sound in each syllable. Maybe if I'm mistaken, please share in the comments what you know about Japanese language. But for example, words like that might be confusing. So then I would take it, write it in phonetic symbols so that it's more explicit, and then break it up from there. So here's the other student examples. Summer is so hot. I want to go swimming now. A good idea. That's cute. Yeah. The last one is people all around. I just want to be alone. I am so tired. So, it's a way for students to also kind of express whatever is on their mind. Oh, I like all the contributions that are coming up in the group chat. Yeah. Then the last part of my lesson, at this point, students are usually writing, drafting their own ideas. And during that time, I just sort of present this slide as extra examples or inspiration. It's from WikiHow, which is a pretty good lesson on how to write haikus. So I just pulled the examples, and then I'll talk about some other kind of stylistic elements of haiku writing. For example, they tend to be in the present tense. So we might discuss grammar a bit, and how haikus might typically use the present tense, but not always. For example, here we have a past tense verb, one shark said to the other. Using concrete images is another level of writing for those who are a little bit more advanced, perhaps. Including some kind of an intriguing ending, something that surprises the reader or makes them think, or presents a contrast of some kind, as well as lots of sensory details. So I focus a little bit more on this aspect, yeah, so evoking senses and thinking about sights and sounds, tastes and smells. I also like to emphasize the role of nature in haikus, taking something simple from nature, something that you see every day, like the sun or a cloud or a blade of grass or a cool wind on your face, right? Little things that we don't necessarily notice all the time, taking a simple element from nature and then making it extraordinary, yeah, making it poetic and making it something really beautiful and lovely. So these are some of the things that I talk about while students are writing and discussing. So let's see, whoops, back to this one. Now let's read yours. I'm gonna go back. So, okay, Nicole's was great. Unknown and scary, people dying every day, coronavirus. And then we have, what did Mel write? Under the sun, I walk among the flowers. Under the sun, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I walk among the flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And do you have a last line? I don't see the line, the third line, another 5-syllable line could be added. It's
Life is beautiful. Life is
Oh,
beautiful.
I see it. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, here we go. Life is beautiful. Yeah, and what you said is true. It's writing practice that's, you have to be concise. So that's kind of the opposite of what students are asked to do most of the time in classrooms, academic English classrooms. They're expected to expand their writing, which of course is very important for other genres, but this is like kind of low stakes writing, low pressure writing, because it's short. It can be done quite quickly about really any topic. And yeah, I think it takes away some of the writing anxiety that certain students might feel. Jessica Garska wrote, raining outside now, cozy inside with kittens, happy days in Cary. That's nice, right? Lots of sensory details, cozy, raining, concrete images, yeah, the rain outside. Yeah, I really like it. And I would say it's kind of an intriguing ending too, because when I read the location, it kind of gives me a whole new idea about where you are while you're writing this poem. I can envision it more. Julie Butters wrote, I really love dance. It makes me feel free. Let us dance freely. Yes, I'm also a dancer. When I'm not teaching, I'm dancing. So I like your topic a lot. I really love dance. It makes me feel free. It makes me feel free. I think your second line is 5 syllables. I'm gonna copy this real quick. I have lots of time. Yep, gonna copy this and going to do some annotation. Oops. See if I can. Ooh, Zoom is giving me some problems today. What did I do? Here we go. Trying to get the whiteboard up. Okay, let's break this one down. I'm gonna cut it in the second line just so it's a little easier to see. Let us dance freely. So let's see. The first line, I really love dance. So at this point, I would elicit from students, you know, how many syllables are in each word. And we would probably discover that we have one I, really is 2 syllables, dance is 1, and, or sorry, love is 1 and dance is 1. Can I change these colors? I want to change the, oops, I think you have to change all or nothing, so everything will be red now. There we go. Second line, it makes me feel free. So it is 1 syllable. Makes is 1 syllable. This is a word that I think students might also perceive as as 2 syllables, because I don't know, makes, but this is a consonant blend at the end, right? A, right? A, so that blend at the end is actually just consonants. We just have one vowel sound. A, makes. So that one is 1 syllable. Me is also 1 syllable. Feel and free. So each of those words is, each one has just 1 vowel sound. So maybe we can add something to this line. It makes me feel free. We could add an adjective or an adverb, sorry. We can add an adverb before free. It makes me feel very free. It makes me feel free and help me out, guys. What can we add to the second line? It makes me feel, I don't know. This was the first thought that came to my mind. Very is a 2 syllable word, right? So that would add 2 syllables to that line so that we would have a 7 syllable line. It makes me feel very free. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. Lots of different ways that you could change it. You could change it to dancing if you wanted to repeat that idea, or you could change it to a different verb or gerund, like moving makes me feel very free. Moving makes me feel very free. Okay, that would be too many. So then I would have to change very to so. Moving makes me feel so free. Yeah, these are the kind of conversations that I would probably have with my students and see what they think and make adjustments in that way. Last line, let us dance freely. Let us dance freely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, really nice haiku. I like that one a lot. Thank you, Julie, for sharing that one. Okay, are there any more? Oh, here's another one from Fiona, I think. Julie and EAP haiku. It could be argued that the world economy will have some problems. It could be argued, 5 syllables, that the world economy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 syllables, will have some problems. 5. Yeah, 5, 7, 5. Really good. And any others? Oh, Tina's got a good one. Sitting at home now, learning about syllables on my iPad. Wow, that's good. That's a nice, intriguing ending with the wow. It's also cute. And then we have any others? Oh, Mel suggested, when I'm dancing, I feel free. That's nice. When I'm dancing, I guess we have a comma in there, yeah? I feel free. That's a nice suggestion to get it to the right number of syllables. When I'm dancing, I feel free. Yeah, that's a nice edit. Okay, thank you guys so much for sharing. I think my session was a little shorter than intended. Of course, when you're working with students and having them read examples aloud and you know, participate, then then this lesson could easily become a 30 or 1 hour lesson, depending on how much depth and how many examples you go over. But it's useful. I mean, it's fun. It covers a lot of skill areas, and I'd love to hear more about what you guys think. Ideas for adapting it, ideas for expanding this lesson, or any other suggestions would be great, or any other experience you've had teaching haikus. Please go ahead and share, and I'll look in the comments to see if there's any questions that have just come up. I don't see any questions, but thank you for the positive feedback that I see. It sounds like some people feel like they might be able to use it. Jessica says, we do haikus at the school, and Carrie and the students illustrate them and we hang them on the wall. Yeah, exactly. So these are personal, and sometimes I'll use haikus or use this lesson around a topic. For example, if we're studying about technology, then I'll have them write like technology haikus, or you could present a theme, and and then making it even more multimodal by adding illustrations and displaying them is a great idea. Thanks for that, Jessica. Fiona said, I think it could really help students think about language patterns and grammatical structures. That's right, because in the conversations that you might have around this, other stuff comes up, right? Grammatical lessons, especially when you start editing the haikus. So as usual, as always, mistakes are good. When students make mistakes, then it provides an opportunity to teach about whatever it is that comes up in that moment. Whether it be, oh, we need to add an adverb. Well, what's an adverb? What does it do? What are some adverbs that might fit? Or if you suggest, rewording, sometimes, of course, students might write something that's not logical, then you can help them to just communicate a little bit more clearly with different vocabulary or different grammar. So that's a good point. And Julie also talked about introducing more creative writing tasks. I agree, kind of the same reasons that I was mentioning before. When you're a student in an English class, it's intimidating to write longer pieces. This one is, I think, more manageable and less intimidating for students, because it's just 3 lines, it's simple, and you can do this quickly as well. It doesn't have to take up your whole class. It could be just a short warm-up activity, something like that. Yeah, and Mel just echoing some of the same ideas, that these kind of tasks help students feel more comfortable and more confident. I think anytime that you write a poem, right? Anytime you write a complete piece or a complete work of anything, there's a sense of accomplishment. For a lot of students, this is their first experience with any kind of creative writing or any kind of poetry. And that's also a concept that I often explain or need to explain at the onset. You're going to write a poem. What's a poem? And then you can talk about the word language family. Poem is a noun. We also have the noun poet. We also have the noun poetry. So there's more that you could expand on. Mel is going to incorporate this into her engineering class, or into her class with engineering students. And yes, I think students do like the rigid structure. It gives them some boundaries, some like safe boundaries to work within. I've also noticed that when I've used this lesson before with students. Great. Okay. if you have any more haikus to share or ideas or questions, then please do so. Otherwise, I'm also happy to share the PowerPoint. So I'll coordinate with Mel on that, but I'm happy to give you the file so that you can edit it and use it however you would like with your classes. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you got at least an idea about something new to try in your classes, and maybe even you feel inspired just to write haikus on your own. They're fun. You can write haikus as little gifts for people too, right? Instead of giving a gift, you could write them a little haiku. I think people appreciate that.
What
okay,
a great idea. Thank you so much, Anne. I'm sorry I cut you off. Is there anything else you want to say before?
That's all. I'm finished with my slides. Thank you.
No, this was great. I've actually never used haiku, and I've been working with students, helping them with writing and communication. They're engineering students, and they just feel like really, like writing and communicating, it's not their thing. Like they're used to putting things together. So what's great about this is that it kind of takes their mind off the larger task, and then, as you said, it builds confidence. Great stuff. Yay! Thank you.
They could also be written as collaboratively too, right? So if you could have two students writing a haiku together. You could even have a group of 3, and each person is responsible for one line, and then they might have to work together to make those lines fit well. But yeah, there's I think a lot of variations from this. Thank you, Mel.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anne.
You're welcome.
Yay!
Bye, everyone. I mean, I'm going to stay on, but cool. Goodbye.
Bye.